Let's move on to this question from Dajarko. His usual introduction here. Happy half fortnight, lads! Exclamation point. Has anyone else noticed the strange, conspicuous absence? The invisible elephant in the room, the empty space of the endless void. Of course, I'm talking about the lack of a Cyberpunk PS5 Pro patch! Exclamation point. They've come out and said it's not happening, but they've broken their word many, many times before. Can we all agree that they should break their word again in the name of redemption, if nothing else? Exclamation point. They could, at the very least, there's some block capitals there, raise or unlock the frame rate cap on the ray tracing mode. How would you all like to see Cyberpunk patched on the Pro? Shout it loudly, just in case it makes it more likely. Oliver, thoughts?
Given the track record of games shipping on the Pro, I would be less confident in that and less excited for that. Possibly something like unlocking that ray tracing mode. That could be something they do. But beyond that, any kind of fundamental changes there, I think are a little bit tougher. Because I don't think there's a great path for them to enhance image quality at the moment beyond just using the PS5 Pro's bigger GPU to enhance DRS. But I believe that's the DRS behavior on Cyberpunk on PS5 Pro is currently already pretty good. Like it does be hitting higher resolutions.
Yeah, you don't need a patch for that.
You don't need a patch for that, exactly. And then the other problem is that on older SDKs, I believe developers don't have access to certain ray tracing optimizations or hardware that we are not yet currently aware of, but may happen to be in the PS5 Pro. I think we know that from various leaks. So they may not be able to push out RT to the levels that you'd like without updating to SDK 9 or 10 or something, and that would present its own potential issues. So ultimately, I think that like the version of Cyberpunk that you have today on PS5 Pro is probably a pretty good version of Cyberpunk for that hardware. Not sure it makes a lot of sense for them to go in and add in PSSR when the results might be similar or worse than the FSR they have there, and where they're not really necessarily able to take advantage of that additional ray tracing hardware potentially to implement more ray traced effects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm agreed with you there. Absolutely. I think they could, at a push, maybe revitalize and revamp the ray tracing mode to do more than just shadows, because that's quite a limited implementation of the various technologies they do have available to them. And it would be nice to see reflections. It would be nice to see GI. It would be nice to see a whole bunch of stuff, but it would require a good degree of engineering effort and, as you likely say, an SDK shift. On the performance mode side, it's already in a pretty good state in terms of hitting 60 frames per second. The limit is actually the CPU there, from what I've managed to see. And there is a modest boost from the existing version of the game, just running under Game Boost. So, what more do you want? Extra additional settings? Yes, you'd get them, but then you'd lose the DRS boost that you'd get just from the standard Pro code. Sorry, the standard PS5 Pro running, standard base PS5 code running on the Pro. So I think it's in a pretty good state as it is. It would be. It's a nice to have, isn't it, John? It's not a essential, really.
Yeah, and I think they're pretty limited in what they can do, like Oliver's saying with the SDK stuff. So I think, as Dejako suggests, just removing the frame rate cap from the RT mode, or like unifying performance and quality to be one mode, is probably the best you could hope for.
And on the ray tracing mode,
I guess.
Well, the ray tracing mode can actually dip beneath 30 on a base PlayStation 5. It's limited, but it can happen, which raises the question of just how much headroom is actually available if
That's
you
a good
remove
point.
the cap.